the sky. Cities aflame in the summertime.
And all the beat goes on.
Evolution, revolution, done control the sound. So shooting rockets to the moon, kids growing up too soon. Politicians say more taxes will solve everything. And the band played on.
Keeper, do you have an announcement?
To work from both sides of the aisle. Local governments continue to max out their levies even when they don't need to. There are perverse incentives in state law that encourage that. We can change the law to support local governments and lower property taxes. And with nearly 7,000 units of government in Illinois, it's time to empower local taxpayers and voters to consolidate or eliminate them.
Your house is on fire. Your house is on fire. I'm Anthony Travis, better known as the tax doctor. Sitting in for the other engineer is that young man by the name of Dean. What's up, Dean?
How you doing?
All right. Man, this show's going to be hot just like last week. But brothers and sisters, we got some sad news about our other engineer, Ken. Something happened to him, and we don't have all of the particulars, but Ken is going to be out of commission for a while. So keep him in your prayers, folks. Folks, you just heard the governor talk about the 7,000 units of government, high property taxes. And the reason we're going to continuously to bombard you with these issues is because the governor, the Speaker of the House, don't want to do anything to give you property tax relief. The governor talks a good game, and that's all it is, folks, is talk. But before we continue the show, we want to go into our other theme, and that's Beretta. We always tell you, folks, don't do the crime if you can't do the damn time. Don't do it. Don't do it. You're going to hear Beretta.
In 15 seconds because we got to get the math on.
Folks, we got too much crime throughout America. And here in Illinois, Chicago, folks, it's time to put an end to the crime. Here's our theme song, Beretta.
Don't go to bed with no price on your head. No,
Don't do it.
no, no. Don't do the crime if you can't do the time.
Don't do it.
Keep your eye on the sparrow. When the going gets narrow.
Don't do it.
Don't roll the dice if you can't pay the price. No,
Don't do it.
don't do it. And don't run your feet down no dead end street. Oh no,
Don't do it.
just keep your eye on the sparrow. When the going gets narrow.
Don't do it.
Don't do me dirt or you're gonna get hurt.
Don't do it.
And don't run away you hear what I say? No, no.
Don't do it.
Keep your eye on the sparrow. When the going gets narrow.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Ain't gonna fight with no faith in the night. No.
Well, 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 well.
Folks, that was Beretta, the theme song. The great, the late Sammy Davis Jr. telling you, don't do the crime if you can't do the damn time. Don't do it. Don't do it. Folks, we got kids out there hijacking cars. We got girls hijacking cars. We got folks killing each other. We got women killing folks. Mr. Engineer, can you bring up mad? Folks, we done gone mad. Lord help us. Lord help us. Man from network.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore. I want you to get up right now. Get up, go to your windows, open them, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore. Things have got to change.
How many stations does this go out
You've got to
live
get
to?
mad.
67.
You've got to say,
I know it
"I'm
goes to
as mad
Louisville
as
and
hell.
Atlanta."
I'm not going to take this anymore. Then we'll figure out what to do about the depression and the inflation and the oil crisis. But first, get up out of your chairs, open the window, stick your head out and yell, and say, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Who are you talking to, Herb?
CGG, Atlanta.
Are they yelling in Atlanta, Herb?
Are they yelling in Atlanta, Ted?
But first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
They're yelling in Baton Rouge.
Get up, get up, get up out of your chair.
Son of a bitch! We struck the mother load!
Stick your head out of the window, open it, and stick your head out and keep yelling and yell, I'm as mad as hell. I'm not going to take this anymore. Just get up from your chairs right now. Go to
Where
the
you
window.
going? I wanna
Everybody
see if
just
anybody's
go
yelling.
To the window, open it and stick your head out and yell and keep yelling. I'm mad as hell. I'm not gonna take this anymore.
I'm mad as hell! I'm not gonna take it anymore! I'm mad as hell and I'm not gonna take it anymore!
I'm mad as hell. I'm not gonna take it anymore.
I'm mad as hell and I'm not gonna take it anymore!
I'm mad as hell.
Folks, you ought to be mad as hell. You ought to be mad as hell, and you ought to be saying, I ain't going to take it no more. I ain't going to take it no more. High property taxes, folks. High gasoline prices, folks. High food prices, folks. And folks, we got folks in Springfield who voted for a bill, SB 508 Section 5, that will raise your property taxes every year unless we get that bill rescinded. Right now, folks, these legislators act like they don't want to repeal that section of that bill. Folks, we said to you in June of 2021, it's time to stop paying property taxes. We said that, folks, and we mean that. We had a press conference about that bill. And yet, those legislators voted for a bill that they say they didn't know Section 5 was in it. And when you get your tax bill on the second installment of this year, you're going to see an increase. But the thing about this bill is that it's going to be with us for a long time if we don't get it repealed. So you need to get in contact with your state rep and your state senator, and you need to tell them you want SB 508 Section 5 repeal. That's right, folks. Repeal. Folks, we have been bringing to you videos that qualify what the tax doctors have been saying to you. Too many units of government, folks. Too many units of government. We got a good editorial from David Walsh, the editor from Channel 32. We're going to play that. And then we're going to come back with the second part of his piece dealing with the sugar tax and the fact that our pension costs is out of whack. And then we're going to come back with WirePoint about too many units of government, folks. Here we go, David Walsh.
Answer there, they can appeal to the Cook County Board of Appeals. If they still don't like their tax rate, they can bring their case to another body, the State Property Tax Appeal Board, which recently awarded a $1 million tax break to Trump Tower.
When you combine state and local taxes in the state of Illinois, turns out we have the highest tax burden of any state in the country. On average, Illinois households pay nearly 15% in state and local taxes. No wonder Illinois has lost over 700,000 residents since 2005, more than any other state. The main reason for the heavy tax burden is that Illinois imposes the highest property taxes in the country. The average homeowner now pays nearly 6.4% of their annual income to property taxes, twice the national average. What is going on here? Why do we pay so much more than other Americans? The top reason is that Illinois has nearly 7,000 units of local government, far more than any other state. We're talking school districts that oversee just one school, two separate governments to run the same town or maintain the same roads, mosquito abatement districts, and on and on. All these unnecessary bureaucratic salaries and pensions are driving up our taxes. To put this in perspective, Texas, a state that has well over twice the population of Illinois, has 25% less units of local government. And Florida, which has 6 million more residents, only has 1,650 units of local government. And both have much lower taxes. These overlapping and redundant layers of local government have led to an inefficient and top-heavy system. One McHenry County politician said it best. We have no idea what a lot of these people are doing. They work in the shadows. We are literally spending billions of dollars to run our government each year, and it's taxing us to death. Look no further than DuPage County to see the amazing results when you consolidate local units of government. So far, after consolidating just 4 units of government, DuPage County expects to save $150 million. Just think, if every county followed DuPage's lead. By consolidating just 4 government bodies, Illinois would save over $15 billion in costs, and the problem would be solved. So why is no one talking about this? We are hearing virtually nothing from our gubernatorial candidates on this issue. I challenge each candidate to address this glaring issue in the coming weeks. You can't lower our property taxes without a plan to consolidate or eliminate the parts of the local government that exist for absolutely no reason. So tell us, what is the plan? We're being taxed to death. I'm Dennis Welsh, and that's how I see it. We want to know what you think. Visit Fox 32 on Facebook and share your thoughts.
Why am I now paying 68 cents more for this bottle of pop?
That's right. It's the new pop tax to pay for out-of-control government pension costs.
Why am I now paying over $10 in taxes for this $100 pair of jeans?
That's right. The sales tax went up again this year, making it the highest in the country, to pay for insane pension costs.
Why is my monthly property tax bill $100 more this month?
That's right. Your property taxes went up 10%, making them the highest in the country, to pay for unsustainable pension costs.
And why is my paycheck so much lower this month?
That's right. The state income tax went up 32% last month to, say it with me, pay for the country's highest government employee pension costs.
So all these added tax dollars are coming out of my pocket to pay for government employee pension debt and not paving roads, patrolling highways, and educating our kids?
That's right. Right now, according to Moody's, Illinois has $250 billion in unfunded pension debt, by far the highest in the country. It sucks up more than 25% of every tax dollar you give, while the average American state only spends 5%. That means Illinois contributes 5 times more to pensions. This insane pension debt situation now has us just one notch from junk bond status, which is the ultimate warning sign. To make matters worse, Cook County and Chicago have tens of billions of pension debt on top of this. It might seem complicated to fix the situation, even overwhelming, but that's wrong. It's as simple as opening the state constitution and changing one sentence. Membership in any pension or retirement system shall be an enforceable contractual relationship, the benefits of which shall not be diminished or impaired.
You mean that's all that has to be done to stop taxing us to death?
That's right. The state legislators could vote tomorrow to put change in the Constitution up for a public vote and fix this whole mess. But because you need 60% of them to vote for the change, it's never happened. To be clear, we're not talking about reducing any past retirement commitments. We're just talking about changing future benefits so we can save our state from financial ruin.
So they care more about their own job security and the political money that supports them than they care about us, the taxpayer they represent?
That's right. I'm Dennis Welsh, and that's how I see it. If you're tired of being taxed to death to pay for pension costs, please go to fox32chicago.com and click on the link to tell your local representative you want action.
Illinois residents pay some of the nation's highest taxes. One of the big reasons? Illinois has nearly 7,000 units of local government. That's by far the most in the nation. This state has more local governments than Indiana, Iowa, and Kentucky combined. In contrast, California, a state with 3 times the population of Illinois, has many fewer local governments. And Florida, with more than 20 million residents, has 5,000 less than Illinois. Local governments are, of course, incredibly important. They give citizens the ability to influence policy at the community level, where it matters most. But the number in Illinois is extreme. Take a community like Elgin, where residents are burdened by taxes from 13 different local governments. There's the county, the forest preserve, the township, the school districts, the library, and many more, each with their own bureaucracy. Illinoisans across the state are paying for thousands of duplicative and overlapping government administrators that get 6-figure salaries and multi-million-dollar lifetime pension payouts. It's a big reason why Illinoisans pay the highest property taxes in the nation. Illinois needs to get rid of its unnecessary governments. For instance, Illinois has over 850 school districts. The state could immediately merge the elementary districts that have yet to be united with their high school districts, trimming thousands of administrative staff and the salary and pension costs that go with them. Townships could be absorbed by counties, library districts by their cities. The same goes for park districts and many other governments. Consolidation would help ease the outrageous tax burden on the average Illinoisan. Unfortunately, Illinois politicians only seem interested in hiking taxes. Giving politicians more money will only make things worse. Real reform is what Illinoisans desperately need. To learn more, visit wirepoints.org.
All right, folks. You heard it. You heard it from the governor. You heard it from David Walsh. You heard it from Ted Tabosky from WirePoint. And you constantly hear it from the tax doctor. Folks, I don't know what else we need to tell you. But we got to keep telling you this stuff over and over until it resonates with you. 7,000 units of government. $30 billion a year in property taxes. 856 school districts. $18 billion a year, folks. Folks, about 2 years ago, we had 2,075,000 students. And today, we got 1,887,111 students. We have 102 counties. 97 of those 102 counties lost population. And when you listen to Dennis Welch, he took you all the way back to 2005. We lost 700,000 citizens who took their capital with them. And they migrated out of this state, folks. 2021, we lost 122,000 people. And 10% of that 122,000 was rich people. They didn't sell their property. No, they took their paychecks to another state where they didn't have to pay taxes, folks. Folks, this issue of high property taxes is real. And I don't care how many times I have to keep playing these videos over and over and over and over until you get it. And you say, tax doctor, what are we supposed to do? Well, I'm going to tell you what you need to do. Unlike Mad. Can you bring Mad back up again? I want you to listen to Mad. Because some of the stuff he's talking about is real. Okay? It's real. But see, unlike him, I'm going to tell you what you need to do. Okay? Listen to this, folks, man.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad.
I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I want you to be upset. I want you to be so mad that you throw some of these folks out of office in Springfield, folks. Because if they can sit down there and vote for bills that's going to raise your property taxes, it's time for them to go, folks. Let me say this. Because this has been some of the problems with these various groups. To the good citizens of our state of Illinois, for 53 years, our elected officials and union leaders and many of our educators, organizations, all our governors have let the taxpayers down. Many of you who eat at the trough, and therefore you don't want change. Well, there are some of us who need to save this state from those of you who don't care. This is what we stand for. And change. Well, as I stated before, there are some of us who need to save this state from those of you who don't care. And that is advocating for you, the taxpayers. We want reform, consolidation, and liquidation of the 7,000 units of government that cost us $30 billion in property taxes, 856 school districts that cost us $18 billion in property taxes, a pension outdated system that is about to cost us $300 to $400 billion, reported from Moody Credit as the worst in the nation. If this is a dream, then it's time to wake up and understand why we need the octopus hybrid tax system and follow the money from A to Z. This is what we need. No more than 2,500 units of government, 50 unified school districts, 50 counties. Get the schools out the property tax system. That would save you 60 to 70% off your tax bill. One statewide budget for education. Also, one property tax bill. If this is not done by 2027, then we need a con-con. Well, let me go back. Get the schools out the property tax system. That would save you 60 to 70% off your tax bill. One statewide budget for education. Also, one statewide pension system like they have in Wisconsin for all government workers. This, too, will save you money off your property tax bill. If this is not done by 2027, then we need a con-con for 2028. The Citizen Advisory Coalition to Save Illinois and the Tax Doctor. Here come the octopus, a new way to fund our government. Folks, when we talk about what you saw in those videos, this stuff is real. And we steadily lose hundreds of thousands of citizens. Excuse me, folks. When you steadily lose hundreds of thousands of citizens, who do you think is going to have to make up that difference? Those of you who stay in Illinois. There are some folks who had enough of this crap. They pack up their bags and they leave. And so we're saying to you, this is what we need to do. And what we need you to do, get in contact with your state rep, your state senator, and you tell them, I heard on your House on Fire show from the tax doctor that we need to overhaul this system. And if you can't vote to overhaul this system, then we need to get rid of you. That's right, folks. And like we said, in June of 2021, and we stick by our word. At TrueHD.net radio show, and our phone number is 773-941-5167. Follow the money from A to Z. It's time to stop paying property taxes. Dean, did the tax doctor just say stop paying property taxes?
Yes, he did.
And we mean that, folks. We mean it. Stop paying property taxes. Folks, the Citizens Coalition to Save Illinois and the Tax Doctor, we're going to put out a report card on the governor and our legislators. Well, Tax Doctor, what kind of grade are you going to give these folks? Well, when you look at the key issues here, and what I want you to understand is that the governor had a task force for property tax relief. The Democrats had their report, and the subcommittee that I sat on, we got our report, 62-page report. We followed the law, and we looked at this whole issue through a racial lens, because that's what the law said. And we came up with what the governor said. Those three words: reform, consolidation, and liquidation of the 7,000 units of government, folks. And on the tail end of the show, the engineer is going to play back those words coming from the governor. Folks, if we're to save this state for the sake of our children, their children, and their children's children, then we must bite the bullet and bring about the much needed changes that we need. And we think about the report card, and you look at the three categories: reform, consolidation, and liquidation. Where do these candidates stand? Where do the governors stand? When it comes to reform, he gets an F. When it comes to property tax reform, he gets an F. When it comes to having one statewide budget for education, getting the schools off the property tax system, he gets an F. And then the legislative body, they get an F. When it comes to consolidation, he gets an F. Units of government, 856 school districts should be down to 50 unified school districts. 102 counties should be down to 50 counties. The 7,000 units of government, folks, should be down to 2,500. Folks, Springfield gets an F. They get an F. When it comes to property tax relief, they get an F. That's right, folks. When it comes to the third category, liquidation, folks, we need to lower the property tax rates. We need a pension reform. We have 667 pension funds. Mr. Engineer, do you hear that? That's insane. We have 667 pension funds.
For what? Why?
That's a good question. Why? And you take a state like Wisconsin, they have 4, maybe 5, but they got one major pension that covers all government workers in the state of Wisconsin. So that means if you are a school teacher, or you work for a municipality, or you work for the county, you all got the same pension system. Whereas here, we have 667 separate pension funds. Now, the governor, in his budget address, he said, for the first time, I put $500 million in the pension bucket. But Mr. Engineer, if you owe between $145 billion in unfunded liability, and Moody puts it at between $300 and $400 billion liability, what's $500 million? And you owe that kind of money?
A percentage, maybe 1% probably.
So who is he lying to? Who is he fooling? Do he honestly think that all of us are stupid?
Not a tax company. He might.
Folks, wake up. When the governor gave his address, he wanted you to think that by putting $500 million in the pension bucket, damn it, he did something great. And what I'm saying to you folks, that ain't great. That ain't true reform. And from what I'm hearing from folks who know the governor, who know the speaker, they don't want property tax reform. They don't want reform, period, Mr. Engineer. Period. So the bottom line is, if we got 7,000 units of government that was pointed out by Channel 32 and WirePoint, at a price tag of $30 billion for the 7,000 unit, $18 billion for the 856 school districts, and people are losing their property over taxes. It's something wrong with that picture, Mr. Engineer. Here at TrueHD.net, it is our job to bring you the raw facts, the data, because the data don't lie. This report don't lie, because when you look at this report and on page 5, they shifted the burden of taxation away from the state and onto us. Well, I'm not lying. And see, I can go to page 5, folks. This is page 5. When you come down to, this is part of the executive summary down to B. It said, a review of the Constitutional Convention of 1970 and how the tax burden was shifted. Isn't that what that said, Mr. Engineer? Mm-hmm. They shifted the burden away from the state and onto property owners and those who pay rent.
Why do you think that is?
Because the state legislators who has the responsibility under Article 9, Section 1 to raise revenue and disperse it out to the different units of government. They didn't want that headache. Now, when you read the Constitution, under Article 9, Section 1, it states they are the one with the power to raise revenue. They are the ones who do not supposed to relinquish that authority to nobody. But there was a compromise, folks, when they came up with home rule. And when they came up with home rule under Mayor Daley, they shifted that burden. And folks, those of you who live in Chicago, your taxes been going up like crazy. That's right, folks, like crazy. But we're here to tell you at TruthHD.net, it's time to overhaul this system. It's time for us to wake up, send a strong message to the governor and to the legislators. If you guys don't want to fix this system, you should not run again. Let's run people for office who want to fix this system and make Illinois affordable, make Chicago affordable. And what I want y'all to understand is that the property tax rate needs to be reduced. And when you start shifting the burden around, trying to get some formality or balance, there is no reason for property tax rates to be over $1, over 80 cents, over 70 cents. That's right, folks. Because there are states where the property tax rate is 25 to 40 some cents. That's right. There are states where the units of government is reasonable. There are states like Florida who have 2,700,000 student folks, and they only got 74 school districts. They have roughly 21 million people, folks, and they only got 69 counties. Where we got roughly 12 million people, we got 102 counties, we got 1,887,111 students, and we got 856 school districts, folks. The reason we keep bringing these issues to light, because we have an outright migration that is very dangerous. And when the engineer played Dennis Walk, Dennis pointed out we lost 700,000 citizens in 2005. Then we come back to 2021 and we lost 122,000 citizens. Folks, if we stay on that trajectory, who's going to be here to pay taxes? What do you say to that, Mr. Engineer?
I think it's really kind of crazy. I don't know if it's a secret plot or something. 7,000 units of government, and it's all local government. I always thought it was crazy to have school districts. It's not a school district. That's not what a district is. If it's just one school inside of it. You know, if it's multiple schools, that's a school district. There's a lot of districts in school. You know, they don't call one bank a financial district.
Right.
You ever go to Wall Street and then you just see one bank and it's like, oh, this must be the financial district of the city. No, it doesn't make sense.
Well, Mr. Engineer, I hate to be the one, to bust your bubble, but we do have school districts with one school. We do have school districts with 2 schools. We do have school districts with less than hundreds of students, less than thousands. Okay. We have an organization called EPS. These are your rural schools and your small schools. So the executive director of EPS told us, excuse me, They now control 517 of the 856 school districts. So 517 school districts are your small and rural districts. And so the executive director of ARIS made a comment. They don't support consolidation. Okay, they don't support consolidation. Then some friends of mine who are CTU workers in CTU, Chicago Teachers Union, they don't support consolidation, okay? But brothers and sisters, to you taxpayers, the Citizen Advisory Coalition to Save Illinois and the Tax Doctor want you to know we support those three words that the governor uttered: reform, consolidation, and liquidation of the 7,000 units of government. That's right, folks. Now, what I want to bring to your attention because we want to, I want you to understand that 12% of government workers and public officials are holding 88% of non-G workers. And when I say G workers, that means government workers, hostage for 53 years. 37% of you went to the poll and voted in a special election in December of 1970 for a constitutional amendment that gave us Article 13, Section 5, pension and retirement rights. This is known as the Protection Clause, but 67% of you did not vote. But how do we fix this crisis? The Illinois Supreme Court gave Illinois voters a roadmap to pension reform. There is only one path forward, that of an amendment we must get done by 2023. This is achievable. There is sufficient political will. Let me retract that. If there is sufficient political will or grassroots support, this could get done. But as it stands right now, there is not the political will to do anything that will alleviate the suffering that taxpayers are going through right now in the state of Illinois. Part one of fixing Illinois is consolidation and liquidation, reform of the 7,000 units of government. We need to consolidate this 856 school districts down to, we was going along with 6 districts. But we say, no, we can live with 50. 50 unified. And what do unified mean? That means if you got a high school and you got all these elementary schools that feeds into the high school, that's what we call unifying that district. In other words, the way we got it set up now, the high school is one district, your elementary schools are another district. You may have 4 or 5 elementary school districts, a high school district, all within 4 blocks of each other. Did you hear me, Mr. Engineer? So if you got 5 elementary school districts, I mean, these are separate school districts, and you got one high school district, That's 6 superintendents that you're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to, plus their retirement benefits that reach into the millions that you and I have to pay for. Whether it's through the property tax system, the sales tax system, the fee tax. Because folks, understand one thing. A fee is a tax. Okay? Now they try to just see things differently, but no. If I'm paying $150 for my license plate sticker, that's a tax. You can call it what you want. It's still a damn tax. So, we got all this going on. And because we got all this going on, folks, it's time for a change. How much time we got left, Mr. Engineer?
You got at least 3 minutes.
So, I just gave you 12%. 12% of government workers and public officials are holding 88% of non-G workers hostage. And this has been going on for 53 years. Also, only 37% of you went to the poll and voted in a special election in December of 1970 that gave us the constitutional amendment that gave us Article 13, Section 5, pension and retirement rights. This is known as the Protection Clause. Folks, under that article, it means you cannot diminish or impair their benefits. That's right, folks. So when the Speaker of the House tell you he voted for House Bill 1 and the senators voted for Senate Bill 1 to reform the pension system, and that the Supreme Court struck it down, I want you to understand the Supreme Court was right in making that move. Because what the elected officials should have done, they should have voted to amend the Constitution and put it on the ballot for us to vote it up or down. And if we voted for it and passed it, that means they will have the authority to make changes to the pension system. And folks, the Citizen Advisory Coalition to Save Illinois and the Tax Doctors is proudly to say to you, we support reform, consolidation, and liquidation of the 7,000 units of government, and we support one statewide pension for everybody. That's right, folks. My name is Anthony Travis, better known as the Tax Doctor. We're here every Wednesday from 11 to 12. Here's our governor.
Property taxes in Illinois are simply too high. And that's why it's time to put the best ideas to work from both sides of the aisle. Local governments continue to max out their levies even when they don't need to. There are perverse incentives in state law that encourage that. We can change the law to support local governments and lower property taxes. And with nearly 7,000 units of government in Illinois, it's time to empower local taxpayers and voters to consolidate or eliminate them.
People moving out, people moving in. Why? Because of the color of their skin. Run, 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 but you sure can't hide.